conservatives and those in the MAGA movement are under an illusion that Russia is somehow this bastion of traditional values. And this makes me scratch my head because I look at all the indicators within Russia, church attendance or the level of drunkenness or adultery or abortion or you name the list, or go right down the list of things that conservatives would be like, that's probably not a good thing. And it's very high in Russia, especially compared to all the rest of the neighborhood around it. And yet there's this pervasive myth that Russia is this traditional place. And they're doing that intentionally, trying to make it look like, well, we in Russia care about traditional values as opposed to that decrepit, defunct Europe who is going to implode on itself with this, all these woke values. That's the message that they're trying to put out. And it's resonating with a certain cohort of people. But what I want to show you here is, what do the Russians actually think about American conservative, well, not conservative, MAGA. I'm going to show you this video in just a moment. Okay, let's start here. Now, President Putin put this out the other day, and I just did a video about this, about how Russia helped the United States win independence from Great Britain, and we supported their desire for independence from. Why would he put that out? Okay, so who's most patriotic in the United States? It's the American right, not the American left, generally speaking. Doesn't mean that those on the left are not, but those on the right tend to be more patriotic. And so he's trying to align himself with that, just like he's trying to align himself in many other ways. And then we see things like this. This is an American congresswoman saying, Anna Polina Luna saying, Zelensky banned the Orthodox Church. I can promise there will be no weapons funding for you, Zelensky. Negotiate for peace. We are not your piggy bank. Okay, so this is because of the message from Tucker Carlson, folks like that are having this impact on the way that she's seeing what's actually happening. Okay, so as opposed to, say, the Baptist Convention in Ukraine is warning that Russia must be condemned or real peace won't come, because what's actually happening in Ukraine is that Russia is being terribly destructive of religion wherever it finds it. Clergy say peace without justice only rewards atrocity and emboldens future aggression. So that's where we actually are, and it's very interesting to watch these dynamics play out. Okay, so let's look at this. Russia's not perfect, says Scott Ritter. Scott Ritter is, all MAGA all the time. He's on that side of the spectrum. Russia is not perfect, but it's the best country. It's inhabited by people who have so much heart, so much soul that it just makes you cry. Well, it makes me cry too, but for a whole different reason. And that he's spreading this as if Russia is this bastion of traditional values. It's just beyond me. Russia was going so far as to create settlements for American conservatives looking to escape from America. Look at this. This was back in 2023, May of 2023. Russian lawyer claims Putin is building settlements for conservatives looking to leave the U.S. for ideological reasons because, we don't want. Okay, I get it. If you don't want what the left. I'm a conservative myself. I support Ukraine fully. But if you don't want what the Democrats were proposing in all kinds of legislation, I get if you don't want that. But if you think that escaping that to go to Russia is the answer, that's out of the frying pan into the fire. It's terrible. It's nothing like what they're offering. Now, let me show you this before I show you what the Russians were saying about American MAGA. Okay, so I'll show you that in a moment. But the U.S. right is now closer to Russia than the West in many of its values. And so there is something here in the sense that, okay, here's international cooperation as opposed to non-cooperation or nationalism. And then there's right, and then here's left. So you see the U.S. right down here, and you see the U.S. left over here. The U.S. left, generally speaking, is interested in international cooperation, global treaties, those kinds of things. And because it's kind of moving their direction philosophically, right? U.S. right not interested really in that at all. They tend to be nationalist in the best sense of the word, as well as perhaps in not the best sense of the word. What I mean by the best sense of the word is they're patriotic, or they, want U.S. law to be prevailing over them rather than global laws. In the worst sense of the word, they're become nationalists in the way that it's thrown around as a pejorative word now, where it's very different than what I just described. Okay, but the U.S. right is over here, and they're not very far on the spectrum from Turkey and Russia as far as how far to the right they are politically. And okay, I get that, but they're also not cooperating. They don't. But now MAGA really has pushed this down, where I, as a conservative, would say, okay, I'm not a globalist. I'm not way up here somewhere. I'm certainly not up here on the left, but I still think we need to participate in the world. This is kind of like where Mike Pence might be. Over here, we need to cooperate with the rest of the world. We need to lead, but MAGA is down here with Trump. Okay. Now, with this, hey, MAGA, in case you ever wondered just how highly Russians think of you, here's a taste. Now, I'm showing you this because if you are MAGA, you want to understand this is the kind of stuff they're saying. Look at this. The majority of people who vote for Trump are not very smart. Primal people. What? Yeah, he just said that. The majority of people who vote for Trump are not smart. With whom you need to talk like this, with cliches and dumb slogans, because you're not smart. This is how the Russians are laughing at you, MAGA. Like, you think Russia is some ideal traditional bastion of value, or bastion of traditional values. It's not. They despise you, but they're happy to use you. Okay. He says, yes, for the rednecks, they're calling you rednecks, right? I mean, like you just saw that. Okay, let me show you again. He said, here, you rednecks, for some level there, the villagers, yes, that's like saying, calling them peasants or something along those lines. I mean, they really do despise you, and you think that Russia is awesome and dreamy and Ukraine is somehow corrupt because you've been sold a bill of propaganda goods by the Russians, who have been for a decade now really trying to mess with us. In fact, they'll try to mess with us and they'll support both Black Lives Matter and white hate groups simultaneously in order to get us at odds with each other. A great book by this is Putin's Playbook by Keller. I'm trying to remember the name. Just look up Putin's Playbook. You'll see what I'm talking about. Back to this. Cry out, where is our money? Blank. Oh, sorry. Like, look at what they're saying here. Blank. Oh no, sorry. For God's sake. He shuffles around the same 10 words. Such a blank. That's all. I'll go now. You're not avoiding him. No, really, listen. This man is planning to be president again. Okay, so they're deriding the guy that you think very highly of in Trump, and they're calling you rednecks and dumb villagers, and this is what the Russians think of you. Like, so just be aware that that's what's happening. Enough. Stop laughing. They're laughing at you, MAGA. Idiotic idiots. This is the way of communicating. How much do they give there? 14 billion. Israel, 140 billion. About Ukraine, where's Ukraine? 60 billion. Nothing. Everything to Israel. Beautiful, beautiful. This is how it will be. Clearly, the majority of people who vote for Trump are not very smart. Okay, like, this is how they're talking about you. So if you are from the MAGA side, and I'm not that far, I'm a conservative, I kind of understand why you're upset. I get the populism. I'm not a populist. I'm a conservative, but I understand. But if you think that the Russians are the solution, they're not. They're toxic. I mean, this is not the traditional values that you hold. They say the same word, traditional values and traditional values, the same phrase, but they're not the same. So I just wanted to bring this up and let you see it. And coming from someone who's kind of not hostile toward you in the sense that I'm still on the right, even if I'm not a populist, you hear it differently. Tell me what you think about this in the comments below. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the likes, the shares, and the subscribes. And thank you for listening to me. Thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.